early this morning, actually, I came across this post from Strathcole. What I've noticed about Strathcole over the years is that he very seldom gets involved in what I call the politics of Terra Classic, of the community. He very rarely has anything to say one way or the other about the people in the community, what they do, what they say. So when he finds it necessary or feels that he just has to say something about someone, that's when you know it really kind of got to him. Um, I'm going to read this real quick and then I'm going to give you kind of an opinion, which some of you might like, some of you might not. I don't know. Anyway, dear loan community, I can imagine that some investors here on Terra Classic don't care much about how the chain operates as long as it works and rewards are paid. But I have to say something. For the cross, no matter if your profits, and this is this Jesus is Lord um, character, he has a or several um, validator nodes. No matter if your prophecy, vision stuff would be true or not, you are circumventing dynamic commission to increase your overall voting power. With that, you are acting immoral and unethical and actively and willingly working against decentralization efforts. At Lunk, you're doing even worse. You're not only marketing to circumvent dynamic commission, but also disrespecting the governance agreed minimum commission with your 0% advertising. Moreover, aggressively sending out redelegation requests via memos to all delegators of other validators. Pretty foul. And finally, Greenpeace at ComFirst Lunk. Your posts are the most manipulative, delegation grabbing I have experienced over here. Making predictions that you reserve the change, I'm sorry, making predictions that you reserve to change depending on XYZ, stating assumptions and opinions as 100% facts, and targeting the greed of people. I won't tell you to undelegate or redelegate Lunk investors, but what I am telling you is to think about if short-term gains and delusional hopes based on promises are worth jeopardizing long-term integrity and sustainability of the underlying system. After all that is said, I am against social tombstoning via governance. It's not how this chain should act. Cheers. Well, first to Strathcole. I 150% agree with everything basically that you've said here. And I agree with your choice to actually call these things out. I really do. Um, what I have noticed in my life is that people usually choose greed. They usually choose profits um, above even necessarily what's right, moral things, whatever. Give you a quick example, just with kind of what is going on here in the United States with this election. I think everybody knows that Donald Trump is a pretty vile human being. Um, just not a good guy in a lot of different ways. We won't get into all the things he's been convicted of, confused, or accused of, or whatever. We all know it. But for the past 3.5, going on 4 years here in the United States, we have seen the cost of everything go up so exponentially that it will take a family that normally can pay their bills and kind of live a good life, and it's put them into a totally different situation where now they're having a hard time meeting just the regular daily expenses of putting food on the table, putting fuel in the car, paying your insurance. I could go on and on. It has gotten so bad for a lot of people. And so, even though you have someone like Harris or whatever, who some might believe could be some degree more moralistic or whatever than a Donald Trump, uh, most people, I think a lot of people, will choose to vote for Donald Trump, even though they don't like him, even though they hate how reprehensible he has been, because they need to buy bread. They need to buy milk, and not at these prices that we're paying that are 3 times what they were a few years ago. So, yes, putting morals and stuff aside in order to actually affect your bottom line in your pocket, in your wallet, yeah, that's what people are going to do most of the time. So I understand it might be surprising to someone who doesn't act like that, but the majority of people act like that. And as far as the community goes, I'm going to say this about this post, and I'll give you a quick analogy, as I often do. Have you ever heard the story of John the Christian and the flood? It goes like this. The dam broke in the town, and the waters came rushing in, flooding the entire town, and the waters were rising. People were climbing up onto their roofs, hoping someone would come along and rescue them because they had nowhere to go. There was nothing to do. John the Christian got his entire family up onto the roof, and he told everybody to get down on their knees and pray to Jesus for Jesus to come and rescue them and save them from this situation. Well, a little while later, along comes a boat with some guys in it and says, hey, to John and his family, hey, get in the boat. We're here to rescue you. And John says, no, go away. We will not get in your boat. Jesus is going to save us. And they, okay, so they left. The water's getting higher and higher. There's not much more roof to stand on. And a helicopter comes by, drops down a basket, and screams down, put your family in this basket. We're here to rescue you. And John says, no, fly away. We're praying. Jesus is going to come and save us. Well, the waters kept rising, and John and his entire family drowned and died. When he got to heaven and met Jesus, he told Jesus, I prayed and prayed. My whole family prayed to you. Why didn't you come and save us? And Jesus told him, what are you talking about? I sent a boat. I sent a helicopter. It's a silly story, but the lesson is sometimes we can get so stuck in our beliefs that it gets to the point of being detrimental to our well-being. You need to be flexible. You need to read the room. You need to be able to roll with the punches and change as things come along. If you can't do that and you just want to stay stuck in a certain dogma, then it could potentially not be good for you. Well, let's think back a bit. When there was no Lunk and there was only Terra Luna. Terra Luna was a proof of stake chain. Terra Luna had Do Kwon at the helm with TFL doing his bidding. Basically, they had these people as leaders, and they would lead this chain, and they led it pretty well until it ultimately failed. So when he kicked Luna to the side and made it Lunk, and then made his new Luna, the community came along and picked up Lunk and said, you know what? Here's our chance to be 100% decentralized. We're not going to have anyone in charge. That way, no one can ever do that to this chain again. We're going to absolutely take care of it ourselves. The whole community will run it, and it's going to be successful. We'll bring it back to its glory. Well, here we are, nearly 3 years later, and I would love for someone to explain to me how 100% decentralization and not having any leadership at all has benefited this chain, its holders, its stakers, its investors. How has it pushed this chain forward? How has it increased the value of Lunk? How has it made it so that other people are dying, flocking to come in and build on this chain? How has it made it successful? Someone explain that to me. Make it make sense. Because from what I see, that's not the case at all. What 100% decentralization has done and leaving it up to the community with no one in charge, it has spawned these Greenpeace guys and these Jesus is Lord guys. The names have changed, but over the years we've always had these guys who some would call bad actors. I don't really like that term, right? Because different people have different perspectives. But we've always had these guys who were kind of obstructionists and had their own perspective on things. And if anybody disagreed with them, they were absolutely wrong. And they just stayed hard to what they believed in, and they wanted to move things in the way that they wanted to move them. Now, you've got someone like Jesus is Lord, who many say basically self delegates like crazy, has two validator nodes, and does what he can to increase his voting power because some feel he wants to have his will with this chain. He wants to make it what he wants it to be. And we've had guys like that come and go in this chain. Why are they able to do it? Because we have 100% decentralization. Because we have a system where it is absolutely community run, and there's nothing that we can do about that because that's the way it is. So what's ironic to me is that, and this is not any comment towards Strath. This is in general. What's ironic to me is that many of the people who will jump on their soapbox and just scream about the benefits of 100% decentralization and being community run, scream about the merits of that and how great that is, they're the same ones who are the first to complain and bitch and moan whenever somebody does something that they don't like, something that they consider to be immoral or against the betterment for the betterment of the community. They'll go ahead and speak up about it. You cannot have it both ways. If you want it 100% decentralized, that means anybody can do whatever they want to do, and if somebody gets enough voting power to have their way, then that's what they're going to have. If you want it so that there is no one basically steering the ship, no one, nobody, no individual, no group, nothing that is actually leading us in one direction, then you have to deal with the people who are going to try to take advantage of that, and they're going to come all the time. You cannot have it both ways. So my advice to those of you who are listening to this and thinking Trev, you're nuts, 100% decentralization is the way to go, my advice to you is that when somebody does things that you don't like, and somebody maybe pushes things in a direction that you don't think we should go, shut the fuck up, because you're getting exactly what you wanted.